Ever scroll through social media and wonder how everyone seems to be living their best life while you're stressing about bills? Or maybe you lie awake wondering if you're the only one struggling to save money. Here's the truth. Most people are completely clueless. Most people are clueless about what's actually normal when it comes to finances. Today, I'm going to show you the real numbers behind everyone's financial life, and I promise some of these numbers will absolutely blow your mind. Some might make you feel relieved, others might be a serious reality check. But either way, you'll walk away knowing exactly where you stand financially compared to everyone else around you in this country. I'm Mark Reed, and on this channel, we break down money, wealth building, and financial independence in plain English for everyone to understand. If you want to stop guessing and start winning with money, hit that subscribe button right now, and let's dive into these eye-opening numbers. Let's start with the big question. How much is the average person actually making in America? Let's look at the real numbers right now. According to the latest Bureau of Labor Statistics data, the median income for a full-time worker is approximately $54,000 per year nationwide. That's about $1,040 per week, or roughly $27 an hour if you're working a standard full-time schedule. Now here's the kicker. That's before taxes. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, and Medicare get their cut, the picture changes dramatically. You're looking at somewhere between $38,000 to $43,000 in actual take-home pay, depending on exactly where you live in America. Think about that for a moment. If you're earning around this range, you're literally average. Not good, not bad, just middle of the pack. But here's what really matters. What are people doing with that money once it hits their bank account? This is where things get really interesting. The average household is spending about $6,100 per month. That's roughly $73,000 per year just to maintain their lifestyle. Wait, let me repeat that. $73,000 per year in spending. That's what the average American household is burning through annually right now. Let's break down where that money actually goes. Housing costs eat up the biggest chunk at around $2,025 per month. That's rent or mortgage, insurance, property taxes, utilities, and maintenance combined. Over $24,000 per year just to keep the lights on. If you're in a major city, you're probably thinking, $2,025? That won't even get me a studio apartment. And you'd be right. This is the national average, which means in expensive cities like New York or San Francisco, people are spending way more than this number. Food comes in second at about $750 per month, which includes both groceries and eating out. That's $9,000 per year. Transportation takes another $980 per month for car payments, insurance, gas, maintenance, or public transit. Nearly $12,000 annually just to move. Here's the math that should scare you. If the average household needs $73,000 per year just to maintain their lifestyle, something doesn't add up. But the average individual income is only $54,000. How is anyone supposed to get ahead with this massive gap between income and spending? The answer is most people aren't getting ahead. They're just barely staying afloat, living paycheck to paycheck without any real financial progress or security. Now let's talk about something that should terrify every working person: retirement savings. This is where things get really scary for most Americans today. The median retirement account balance for Americans is approximately $87,000. And here's the really scary part. That includes people of all ages. About 28% of Americans have absolutely zero saved for retirement, not a single dollar. They're planning to rely entirely on Social Security alone. Let's look at retirement savings by age. Under 25, less than $3,000. 25 to 34, around $18,000 saved on average. 35 to 44, approximately $45,000. 45 to 54, about $115,000 saved for their retirement years ahead. 55 to 64, roughly $185,000. 65 and older, around $200,000 in their retirement accounts right now. Now, if you're sitting there thinking $200,000 sounds pretty good for retirement, let me burst that bubble real quick with some math. Using the standard 4% withdrawal rule, $200,000 gives you $8,000 per year. That's about $667 per month. Can you live on $667 per month? Even if you own your home outright, that barely covers groceries, utilities, and healthcare. And we haven't even talked about inflation, medical emergencies, or actually enjoying your retirement. This number simply doesn't cut it for most people's needs. This is why most people end up working longer than they planned, or why they have to dramatically downsize their lifestyle in retirement years. Speaking of Social Security, let's address the elephant in the room. The average Social Security benefit is currently around $1,920 per month. That's about $23,000 per year. That might sound manageable, but remember, this is just the average across all recipients in America. If you had years where you didn't work or earned very little, your benefit will be significantly lower, and there's increasing uncertainty about Social Security's future. There's real doubt about whether Social Security will even be fully funded when younger workers retire. This is a crisis building in slow motion right now. Now let's talk about the part of personal finance that keeps people up at night: debt. This is where many Americans are truly struggling today. The average American household is carrying about $104,000 in debt, but let's break that down because not all debt is equal. Mortgage debt makes up the largest portion at around $236,000 for homeowners. Now, mortgage debt isn't necessarily bad debt here. You're building equity in an asset that typically appreciates over time. But here's where it gets ugly with other types of debt people are carrying. Credit card debt averages $7,200 per household. That's $7,000 spent on stuff that's probably already forgotten or thrown away. And with credit card interest rates averaging 20 to 24%, that $7,282 costs you extra every single year in interest. That's an extra $1,440 to $1,728 per year just in interest payments, money literally disappearing into thin air. Auto loans average $28,000. We're financing depreciating assets at 6 to 8% interest rates. Think about how crazy that actually is. The car loses value the second you drive it off the lot, but you're paying interest on top of that depreciation. You're losing money twice here. Student loans average $38,000 per borrower, with many people still paying these off well into their 40s or even 50s years old. Here's the brutal truth. If you're paying 20% interest on credit card debt, there's no investment on earth that can reliably beat that return annually. Paying off high-interest debt should be your #1 priority even before investing for retirement. This is the smartest financial move you can make right now. Net worth is the ultimate scorecard for your financial health. It's simple. Everything you own minus everything you owe. That's your real financial position right now. The median net worth for American households is approximately $192,000, but this number is massively skewed by age and life stage. Under 35 years old, $39,000. 35 to 44, $135,000 in median net worth for this age group. 45 to 54, $247,000. 55 to 64, $364,000 saved up by this point typically. 65 to 74, $410,000. Now, if you're under 35 with $39,000 in net worth, you might think that's okay. But here's the reality. If you're 34 years old and only have $39,000 to your name, you're way behind where you need to be. Think about it. You've been working for potentially 10 to 15 years, and you only have $39,000 in total net worth. That's not comfortable. On the flip side, these numbers are actually pretty achievable for people with decent incomes and basic financial discipline. You don't need to be a millionaire genius. You just need to consistently spend less than you earn and invest the difference. It's that simple. But most people never do it consistently enough. But here's what's fascinating. Most people never even calculate their net worth. They have no idea where they actually stand financially in the grand scheme. They're just going through life hoping everything works out. No plan, no tracking, no awareness, just hoping and praying things will somehow be okay in the end. Here's a number that explains why so many people struggle. The average American saves only 3.8% of their income every single year. Let me say that again, 3.8%. That's all the average person is putting away for their future, emergencies, or any financial goals whatsoever. If you're earning $54,000 per year and saving 3.8%, that's about $2,000 per year, or roughly $170 per month. At that rate, how long would it take you to save a $5,000 emergency fund? Nearly 3 years just for basic emergency savings. A $20,000 down payment on a car. 10 years of saving. A $60,000 down payment on a house. 30 years at this rate. Most financial experts recommend saving at least 15 to 20% of your income for retirement alone, not counting other savings goals you might have. That's 4 to 5 times more than what the average person is saving. The gap between what people should save and what they actually save is massive. This low savings rate is why people feel like they're constantly one emergency away from financial disaster, because they literally are in that exact position right now. Here's something most people don't realize. Your credit score affects almost everything in your financial life. It's way more important than you think it is. The average FICO score in America is currently 717, which falls into the good credit range. Credit scores range from 300 to 850, so 717 is actually pretty solid. But here's what's interesting. This means a lot of people are doing at least some things right financially. They're paying bills on time and managing credit reasonably well. However, there's still a huge chunk of the population walking around with terrible credit scores right now, scores in the 500s and 600s, wondering why they can't get approved for decent loans or why their interest rates are sky high on everything. Your credit score affects mortgage rates. A 1% difference can cost you tens of thousands of dollars over the life of a 30-year loan alone. It also affects car loan terms, credit card approval and rates, apartment rental applications, and even some job applications. It touches everything in your financial world. The formula for a good credit score isn't complicated. Pay bills on time, keep credit card balances low, don't open too many new accounts at once, and maintain a mix of different credit types. Follow these simple rules consistently, and your credit score will take care of itself over time naturally. Let's pull all this together and talk about what it really means. Here's the complete picture of the average American's financial life right now. The average person earns $54,000, but takes home only about $40,000 after taxes. That's a $14,000 gap right off the top. They spend $73,000 per year. Yes, you read that right, more than they actually earn. This is a massive problem that most people ignore. They save only 3.8% of their income, has $87,000 saved for retirement, carries $7,200 in credit card debt, has a net worth of $192,000, mostly from home equity for older people, plans to retire around age 64 with minimal savings, and will rely heavily on Social Security for their retirement income. Does this sound like a recipe for financial success? Absolutely not. This is a disaster waiting to happen. This is why understanding these numbers is so crucial. Once you know what average looks like, it becomes crystal clear that average isn't good enough anymore. The average person is stressed about money, living paycheck to paycheck, and hoping nothing goes wrong. That's not a life goal anyone should aspire to achieve. Here's the good news. Beating these averages doesn't require some secret formula or genius-level intelligence. It just requires being more intentional than most people are. If you want to beat average, here's what you need to do. First, save more than 3.8% of your income every single year. Aim for at least 15 to 20% of your income. Yes, this might mean making sacrifices, but future you will thank present you immensely. Second, eliminate high-interest debt. Attack that credit card debt like your financial life depends on it, because it does. This is your #1 priority right now. Pay more than the minimum. Use the avalanche or snowball method and stop adding to it. Break the cycle of revolving debt once and for all. Third, invest consistently. Don't just save money in a savings account earning 0.5% interest. That's basically losing money to inflation every single year. Invest in low-cost index funds that historically return 7 to 10% annually. The difference compounds dramatically over time. This is how wealth is actually built. Fourth, live below your means. If the average household spends $6,100 per month and you can comfortably live on $5,000 monthly, you've just freed up over $13,000 per year for wealth building. That's real money that can change your entire financial future over decades. Fifth, increase your income. The average person earns $54,000. Can you develop skills, switch careers, or start a side hustle to earn significantly more? Even an extra $10,000 per year can dramatically change your financial trajectory. More income plus controlled spending equals wealth accumulation. It's that simple mathematically. Sixth, automate everything. Set up automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts. Pay your future self first before you have a chance to spend the money foolishly. Seventh, track your net worth. What gets measured gets managed. Calculate your net worth quarterly and watch it grow over time. This creates accountability and motivation consistently. These statistics paint a pretty clear picture. The average person's approach to money isn't working. The numbers don't lie, and the situation is genuinely concerning for most people. When most people have less than $90,000 saved for retirement, are carrying thousands in credit card debt, and are saving less than 4% yearly, something is fundamentally broken in how we approach personal finance in this country. But here's what I want you to take away from this entire discussion today. These numbers don't have to define your financial future. They're just a starting point, a benchmark to measure yourself against. You control your own financial destiny completely. The fact that you're watching this video right now means you're already ahead of most people. Most people never even think about these important financial questions. They just go through life financially blind, hoping everything works out. You don't have to be that person. You can take control starting today, right now. Use these statistics as motivation, not as an excuse. If you're behind, you have time to catch up. If you're already ahead, don't get complacent or lazy. The gap between average and exceptional isn't as wide as you think. It just requires consistency, discipline, and making smarter choices than the people around you daily. You deserve better than retiring with $87,000 and hoping Social Security runs out. You deserve better than carrying credit card debt and living paycheck to paycheck. You deserve the peace of mind that comes with having your financial house in order. Real financial security where you sleep well at night every night. These statistics show us where average ends up, but you get to choose whether you want to be average or something better. The power is in your hands. The choice is yours. So, what's it going to be? Are you going to stay average, or are you ready to build real wealth starting today? If this video opened your eyes to where you stand financially, hit that like button and drop a comment below telling me which statistics shocked you the most. And if you want more content on how to build wealth, beat the average, and actually retire comfortably, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because we drop new videos every single week helping you build financial independence and real wealth. I'll see you in the next one. Now go build some wealth.